search of a point at least to aid a group stage campaign that is likely to be decided on away performances than home.
He's got Songway in the middle, and he's got another man at the back post, goes alone. Now Songway pulls it back to the edge of the box. It's a shot, and it's a goal. It's a deflected into the net, but it's picks Bonsu out on the edge of the box, and it's deflected. Tesawea goes, and it's saved. What a save by the goalkeeper. And it's now Songway who plays it in, and it's 2-0. Emmanuel Gyamfi at the back post. Takes the throw in quickly. Songway just pokes it across, and that will be that at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium.
I can't promise you that, but I know that once we are organized, once it's possible. It's an away match for us, and so the results on paper it looks scary. How can you be able to do it? It is possible.
Siki Akono and his boys are back in Zambia against Nkana FC in the CAF Confederations Cup Group Stage Day 3. Nkana have made their home ground the fortress, and Kotoko have their work cut out at such a pivotal time in the race. We get updates from Kotoko's camp and preview remaining games to come in the CAF Confederations Cup and Champions League. In Europe, there was quite a lot to learn from the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg ties and the Europa League round of 32 games. But there are special games to come in Spain as the La Liga title race tilts again. Equally in France, Italy and Germany, where Bayern Munich are hot on the heels of Borussia Dortmund in the domestic fight. We preview the action to come. In England, the blue side of London have unresolved matters from board, technical team, players and fans alike. But the controversy seems to centre around this Italian.
I have to think that I will be the manager of Chelsea for a long time, otherwise I cannot work. I have to think this, of course, because I have to work and I want to work with a long-run target. We need to win 3-4 matches in a row. It's the only solution. I can understand very well the frustration of our fans because they are used to win. And now we are in trouble, and so I can understand very well, but there isn't another way. We have only to have good performances and good results.
Chelsea boss Mauricio Sarri, quite bluntly, is in danger of losing his job after inconsistent performances from his team. The weekend couldn't have been any difficult with a clash against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final. Should Sarri be sacked if he loses to Manchester City? Let's hear from you via social media platforms. Also in England, a blockbuster which could turn the title race on its head is on the cards.
Into the edge of the area, Firmino, oh no, Shaqiri again, deflected, goal, 3-1 Liverpool, Shaqiri scored twice, off he goes, he's mobbed by his teammates, and Liverpool are on course for victory over Manchester United for the first time in the Premier League under Jurgen Klopp's management, and one of his cheap summer signings, Xherdan Shaqiri, has come on and changed the game. 3-1 Liverpool against Manchester United.
Liverpool play Manchester United with both teams needing the points for entirely different reasons. Liverpool want to save their title charge. Manchester United need that badly to stay in the top 4. Analysis to come. Head to our Facebook page, joy/99.7fm, our WhatsApp line 0244 340 437, or tweeted us at JoySportsGH and reacting to our questions of the day. We'll be in the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona to check out Formula 1 teams as we build up to the new season which begins in Australia on March 17. Surely a few notes to ponder. Time then to talk about what the world is talking about in the world of sports. Hello from me, George Aldo Jr., and welcome to Preview Friday, sponsored by eBet Ghana. Just play.
Live on radio, live online. This is the Locker Room with George Aldo Jr.
And a big welcome to you wherever you are listening in to us on Joy 99.7 FM. Wonderful weekend to look forward to, and that's just how we do it. So 0244340437. I know we've got some Chelsea fans coming out. We'll also activate our phone lines later on in the show to hear from the Chelsea boys. It's all about Sarri and what the way forward is. With a lot of updates coming up, we'll be hearing from the BBC, Steve Crossman shortly. But a good place to begin this afternoon is boxing, and Emmanuel Gameboy Tego fights Vyacheslav Grushev for the IBF International Lightweight title at the Bukom Boxing Arena tomorrow. Tego, who is ranked within the top 15 of the IBF rankings, will be looking forward to pushing further for big opportunities in the division. So what should we expect from Tego, who has lost just once in 30 fights and is desperate for success? Here's Tego's manager, Abraham Kote-Nikwe, and he's got a lot on that.
Yes, Tego and the whole team, the spirit is high. We've trained very hard, and the preparation is good. As I'm speaking to you, we moved from camp from Oyarifa, and we are on our way to the weighing section. This is very important for Emmanuel Tego. As I speak to you, Peter Khan from Lodubella is here to be with his boy. This being the last fight of Emmanuel Tego in Ghana is something that we, the Baby Jet team, have taken it serious. And the training section and everything is on point. We are expecting to give Ghanaians a very good show tomorrow night, and if you ask anything about Game Boy, he's in good shape. The spirit is high. He knows he's going to fight the opponent from Russia, Gutsev, and we prepare for him. From this one, we will be knocking at the world title door. So we've taken this particular fight very serious. We find ourselves in number 4 in the ratings, the WBO, and as we are fighting the WBO Global and the IBF International, we will move up also in the IBF. So, my brother, we are seriously in business, and we are there. So we are not joking at all. And we are expecting Ghanaians to come and be with their own Game Boy. As you said, the last fight you saw Game Boy, and you are going to see him more this coming Saturday. Thank you.
All right, so we look forward to Game Boy in the Bukom Boxing Arena as he comes up against Vyacheslav Gushev. Now, that will be a big one, and we'll be keeping tabs on that. There's more to come. We'll have to do football here, and of course, we hear from his manager, Abraham Kote-Nikwe, there. Now, let's do football now, because there's continental action to look forward to. And Ghana's sole representative, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, are in Zambia to face FC Nkana FC, in the quest for the first away points of the group stage campaign. Now, the team were in deep preparations in Kumasi and are in Zambia at the moment, fine-tuning for the game on Sunday. So just how well prepared are the team? Of course, we've been joined on the line by Love FM's Kelvin Owusu-Ansah, who followed the team keenly all through in Kumasi before they left the country. Now, first things first, Kelvin, then, how would you assess the attempts by Coach Sikwe Akono to correct the mistakes or loopholes in the team after watching them so far in the competition?
Thank you very much, George. And he's been very, very concerned with the team's progression. And just as we know, when he took over the coaching duty for Asante Kotoko, he wants his philosophy known as the agro football. That's free-flowing football with fluidity and team chemistry almost at 100% perfect in the team. But that hasn't been the case. It started from game 1 when they played against Kariobangi Sharks of Kenya. Had a lot of problem in midfield, and that resulted in him altering the midfield for about 3 times in the games against Kariobangi Sharks and the 2-legged affair between Ashanti Gold and also that friendly against Asokwa Deportivo at the Baba Sports Stadium. After that, it seems to have seen a progression in the midfield and also his flanks, that is the attacking midfielders in Emmanuel Jenfi and Maxwell Back for supplying those auxiliary goals you would need to augment the effort of Sonia Yakuba up front. In as much as the striker is misfiring, he's very pleased with that. But you look at the deficiency in the team now, and it's the defense. And he's had a lot of concerns, especially with the goals being conceded by the Porcupines. He hasn't really been happy with it, but he's really worked on it. And I can tell you that just last week, I saw a number of old players coming back to the training grounds just to help with the defensive duties. Joseph Hendricks was around speaking to a couple of players, and I saw Kwesiapia, the Black Stars coach, also around, as well as Frimpong Manso, who are all past defenders of the Porcupines. So it looks like he's really interested in making sure that he builds a very solid defense. Most of the goals that they've conceded have been defensive errors, and he wouldn't want to take that as they advance into the third group game against Nkana on Saturday. He's very particular with it, and looking at works that has been done in the past week, I really feel that he will really have a very solid defensive unit this time around.
Well, of course, that's a concern for, I think, all the fans who have been watching the games as well. How then are Kotoko making up for the loss of a key central defensive midfielder in Richard Sinanu after he was ruled out?
Well, that has been a very a major talking point, and Sika Akona has expressed a lot of worry. And if you can recall, he wanted James Akamenko from Ashanti Gold as part of his players, the 3 players he wanted to add up to the 27 that they had already registered for the Africa campaign, but they couldn't secure his services, and that really calls for much more attention and for all Porcupines. But it's really sad that the player is not part of the team. They are trying to devise a measure or a means to bring in another player who can probably make do with the absence of Richard Senano. Let's not forget, it got to a point that he brought in Emmanuel Ajimambadu, the centre-back, to play in central midfield, partnering Kwame Bonsu, but it really didn't pan out so well. Looking at the team that is making the squad to Zambia for the game, I am tempted to believe that either Habib Mohamed, who replaced Richard Senano after his injury in the last game against Zesco United in Kumasi, will play there, and he has that ability to work throughout. He is a natural defender, utility as a matter of fact, and would have that mobility in midfield as you would want to have. If there's no playing, then you can depend on Umar Bashiru from that is West Africa Football Academy, that player. And for me, he has that ability to distribute well, to supply passes to Kwame Bonsu and the other attacking midfielders. But his ability to track back to become a very solid shield for the defense is very questionable. These 2 players, for me, are the likely options. It's either he plays Habib Mohamed or he resorts to playing that is Omar Bashir, to resort to more retaining much more possession in midfield, preventing his opponent from having anything on it.
Well, that's one. We'll be keeping an eye on what happens in the central defensive midfield position there for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, knowing that the defense has got a bit to move up. Then we have to talk about Sonny Yakuba, because it's an interesting topic these days, and of course he's been brilliant all round, but unable to get his name on the score sheet so far officially. Now CK says he's not worried about this, but can you explain the phenomenon? Because I know in between games he's able to get some goals when he plays friendly games. What exactly is going on with Sonny Yakuba then?
Well, George, it was a very difficult moment for Sonia Yakuba, especially when they started the campaign. Let's not forget he had a health problem which nearly resulted to him leaving Asante Kotoko. But thanks to the management, they brought him back to play for the Porcupines, coming back from Burkina Faso after he got married. But since then, he hasn't been able to score. And let's not forget, when he donned the shirts of the Porcupines, he scored a number of very good goals for them, especially in the friendlies that they played against Accra Suffolk and Ashanti Gold. He scored about 8 goals in all the 4 games that he played, almost scoring a brace in each game. And the Truncated League also saw him as the leading goal scorer for Asante Kotoko, scoring about 5 times in the 7 games that he played. So all fingers were pointing at Tony Yakuba to be the lead marksman, and he was the reason why the Porcupines, the fans of Asante Kotoko, were very, very much optimistic that in as much as there is no league or no competitive football in Ghana, Yakuba was going to score. But Tisha Kono seemed not perturbed with the form of Yakuba's goal scoring anytime he speaks to the media. But deep inside him, he's very much worried. And trust you me, after the game against Zesco United, he really shared a lot of concerns. You could hear him whisper to himself, Yakuba, Yakuba, Yakuba. And clearly, he's really much concerned. What he's inspired the player to do is to continue playing and resort to making his very best for the club, supplying the needed balls for the other players to opt in and then score for the Porcupines. But he consented to it that there's too much pressure on Yakuba, and together with the psychologists, they were going to work on him. And throughout the training sessions from Friday till Monday when they left Kumasi, you could see clearly that it was just an extra training session for Yakuba's shooting ability. We know him as a player who has high shooting accuracy, but in the past game he's been misfiring. But Sika Kono took him through a number of drills, And after his drills, he spoke to the psychologist. They worked on him. And looking at Yakuba, he seems free. He seems less burdened with that pressure from the fans for him to score. And calls have come in from former Asante Kotoko coach and assistant coach of the Black Stars. That is Maxwell Fledu, telling the fans to even have it easy. And that has been told to Yakuba. And for me, I really feel that it is something very positive for them. But Yakuba himself, really as a player, would want to score. I spoke to him the last time. He's not happy, he's not scoring for the team, but he believes that the 3 maximum points is what the team needs. So far as the team is going to win games without him scoring, him supplying, just like he did 2 assists in the previous game, he's always going to be happy with the team progressing. But he would work on his goal scoring ability to make sure that he gets back to his scoring form to augment or add up to the goals being scored by the other attacking options.
All right, then let's quickly end with this. Of course, we have an idea of what Nkana FC are. They're playing at the Fortress. It's going to be very difficult for Kumasi Asante Kotoko to break them down. What you have seen in the training session so far, who is likely to play where?
Well, George, just as you said, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, I've seen how Nkana FC play, and the coach Akono said they've had a number of videos to watch, and last weekend they watched the Power Dynamos in Nkana FC game where Power Dynamos beat Nkana by 2-0, and they are likely to possess more of the football and have their strength on the flank. So Amos Frimpong, the captain, has been very solid, and for me, he would maintain his place in central defense. Abdul Ganiyu, partnering Ajiman Bedu, the solid pair, in as much as some concerns were raised about the confidence level of Ajiman Bedu in the last game. He's going to entrust that faith in him to be the partner for Ghana. At left back, you'd always want to see Abbas Mohammed, but looking at how solid CK wants his laterals to be, you'd have Augustine Sefa playing there. In central midfield, Kwame Bonsu is just a key man. Transitional midfield have been excellent in the past 4 games he's played for the Porcupine, so you'd want to see him there. In midfield, in as much as Umar Bashir has that ability to supply and retain balls, possession for Asante Kotoko with his brilliance, I feel that Habib should be given the option because he has that strength, that ability to shield the defense. You rely on Maxwell Bako on the right-hand side of the attacking area, Emmanuel Jensi from the left-hand side, and they will switch flanks during the game. So that would be, they are going to share the flanks. And just as trusted as Fatao Abdul Safiu, who play behind Sonia Yakuba. And so these are my 11 with Felix Shannon as the safest pair of fans for the Porcupines in post. So these are the 11 that I expect to CK Akono to fill them come Sunday at Kitwe against Nkana FC if there are no injury concerns.
24 hours to the game and they should be fine. And of course, the other games to come in the CAF Confederations Cup and Champions League, and we'll be all over this. Thank you very much, Kevin Uswansa, once again for your time on the show. And we'll be looking forward to Kumasi Asante Kotoko versus Nkana FC all the way in the Kitwe Stadium, of course, taking place in Zambia. More updates coming away. But there will be other games as well in the Confederations Cup. Moses Yabua has put this together for the wrap. Let's enjoy it.
CS Sfaxien will target a home victory when they welcome Salitas FC for a CAF Confederation Cup Group B match on Sunday. Sfaxien have enjoyed a strong start to the group phase, claiming 4 points from 2 matches. But they will be disappointed with their previous result, a 1-0 draw at home to Nigeria's Enugu Rangers. Elsewhere in Group B, Etoile Sportif du Sahel will be hoping to record their first win when they host the pool leaders Enugu Rangers. The 4-time champions Etoile Sahel are third in the group with 1 point from a possible 6. RS Berkane will look to defend top spot in Group A when they face host Raja Casablanca. Asante Kotoko are in Zambia to battle Nkana FC in the 3rd round of their Group C match. Kotoko beat Zesco United 2-1 at home and will look to gain more points in Zambia. Ahead of Sunday's game, all 4 teams in the group are tied on same points, and any result apart from defeat will be a positive one for the Porcupine Warriors. In the other match in Group C, Zesco hosts Al Hilal. And Zamalek, who currently sit bottom of Group D with just 1 point, will square off to Atletico de Luanda of Angola.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
So we look forward to all those games as well. Quick one for Chelsea fans who are joining in the locker room. Get yourselves ready. We're asking you a key question. Do you think Mauricio Sarri will do well if, of course, his time is extended there at Chelsea, or he's allowed to stay on as coach, knowing a lot of things has happened today, including a transfer ban on Chelsea? Yeah, we'll be talking about all of that shortly, of course. Now, time to go for the Joy Sports BBC two-way series. I had a good chat there with the BBC Steve Crossman. You want to enjoy this, and we're back with more. Thanks for your time this weekend, and Chelsea is definitely a good place to start after the shenanigans in the last few days. No doubt the FA Cup exit piled more pressure on Mauricio Sarri. Fans are calling for his head already. Do you think, though, Sarri deserves more time at Chelsea?
Good question. Well, I think it's difficult because, you look at the league table and Arsenal are on the same points as Chelsea, but Chelsea are in a cup final and they're both through to the latter stages of the Europa League. So you'd have to say, there's not a massive amount in it, but Chelsea are having a better season than Arsenal because of the fact that everything is equal, literally, other than the fact that Chelsea are in a cup final this weekend. So, with Unai Emery at Arsenal, everybody is saying he will need 2 or 3 transfer windows to get this right. But people aren't saying that with Sarri. And that's not because people are disrespecting Sarri. It's because Arsenal traditionally, as we know, do not sack managers regularly or at all for the space of 20 odd years. But Chelsea is completely different under Roman Abramovich. So yes, he's under pressure. Yes, he deserves more time. I think he definitely deserves more time, but that doesn't mean he's going to get it. And I suspect if they lose the cup final, and particularly if they lose it in anything like the way they lost to Manchester City in the Premier League recently when they were hammered 6-0, then that might be the end for him.
Steve, news just in then, and Chelsea have been handed a transfer ban that prevent them from signing players till next summer. How difficult could things get for the Blues?
Yeah, so the ban is for 2 transfer windows, isn't it? Which means that they won't be able to sign players for a calendar year, basically. Now, they may well appeal this. We don't know what is going to happen next with this story. However, it's going to make life very difficult for them, clearly, for the reasons you've outlined. And it makes things like, keeping hold of Callum Hudson-Odoi much more important, and keeping hold of Eden Hazard much more important. Both of those players have made it pretty clear, one of them in writing in Hudson-Odoi's case, that they want to leave the club. Well, they can't afford that to happen now if they're going to have to go a year without signing anybody. This is a story that's just broken, so anything can happen with it. It wouldn't be the first time that it's happened. Clubs like Barcelona have gone through this. And we should say it's not a ban on buying players, it's a ban on registering players. So what Barcelona did when they were in this situation is they actually bought a couple of players. One was Alex Vidal and the other was Arda Turan. And they just didn't register them. So they knew they were coming in, but they couldn't play them when they bought them. Now, clearly no player is going to be happy to sign for a club if they know they can't play for, a year. But that said, maybe when we get through to the January transfer window next year, we might see them start to sign players again and just not be able to register them. But yeah, it is a massive blow, and we'll have to wait to see what happens next.
After the 6-0 drubbing at the hands of Manchester City at the Etihad, how would you expect the under-pressured Mauricio Sarri to approach the game, and do you anticipate any different outcome?
Well, he's going to be terrified, isn't he? You'd have to be terrified after what happened in that 6-0 game. I've no idea how he's going to approach it, because the reason I say that is because, I say I have no idea. I think I know exactly how he'll approach it, but I have no idea how it's going to work out. Because how he'll approach it is how he's approached every other game, because he's so inflexible. He doesn't change. He will go with the same system and the same style of football, even though he's coming under huge pressure to change that style of football, huge pressure to bring Kante back into the holding midfield role, huge pressure to not play Jorginho in that position. But he keeps saying, no, I'm going to stick with what I know. So you have to think he will just do that. But the reason I say that with hesitancy is, if you were ever going to change it, now would be the time. Because you're playing a team who's beaten you 6-0. And so they know your system, they've worked out your system, and they've defeated it with ease. And it's not like he's going to have a host of different players in the team this time around. So I've got to say, I fear for Chelsea a little bit in this game.
The enemies from hell meet once again at such a crucial time in the season. Manchester United are in need of 3 points badly to push their top 4 agenda, and Liverpool's title charge could come crashing with a defeat. Perfectly set then, why will this game be won or lost?
Firstly, can I just say, the enemies from hell is a remarkable phrase. Well, it'll be one in the final third, won't it? Because, you know, Manchester United's new regime, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has made it clear he wants to stick to their principles, and that involves playing lots of attacking football. And the same is true of Liverpool. So I don't think either team will be very cautious in this game. I don't think they really know how to do that. The difference might be, if you like, that Liverpool have a much better defence than United, in that they've got Virgil van Dijk, who obviously didn't play in Europe in midweek, so he's fresh for the game. And United don't have a defender on that quality, but they've both got so much attacking talent. I am really hopeful that this is going to be a great game, full of chances, full of goals.
How were you impressed with Spurs' 3-0 win over Dortmund last week? And does that performance almost confirm they have a good shot at the title too?
Well, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, nobody's really talking them up, but if they win at Burnley tomorrow, and I'm at that game for the BBC, then they'll be, 2 points behind Manchester City. So, having played the same number of games. So, yeah. I mean, I think tomorrow actually is a massive game for them, because they really need to take advantage of this game in hand. I think the idea of them catching up 5 points versus 2 points is absolutely huge. So if they get the win at Burnley tomorrow, and that'll be tough because Burnley haven't lost a game this calendar year, then I think they're right in the title race. But this is arguably the biggest game of their season so far. And like you say, you know, they've proved people wrong. People who said they wouldn't be able to deal with an injury to Harry Kane. Well, they did, even though for part of that period they didn't have Heung-min Son either, because he was away at the Asia Cup. So they've proven they can deal without Kane when necessary, albeit they obviously want him there every single game that he can be there. And so, yeah, massively impressed with them. And, you know, they'll definitely be in the title race if they get a result on Saturday.
The BBC, Steve Crossman there. Joy Sports BBC two-way series. Hope you enjoyed every bit of that. And yes, we're looking forward to many battles to come this week. Yes. It's interesting there when you look about the Bundesliga title race. It's all tilting now in the La Liga title race as well. In France and in Italy, real good times out there. So which game should we be looking forward to? Moses here has got this wrap.
This is the standout fixture this Saturday in La Liga. Barcelona's trip to Sevilla represents one of their biggest remaining tests as they seek to defend their Primera Division crown. After Real Madrid lost last weekend, Barca have a 7-point advantage at the top, and they will have one hand on the trophy if they can come through this next week relatively unscathed, with their Clásico to come next weekend. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid face Villarreal and Levante respectively. Hertha Berlin have failed to win away at Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga on each of their last 23 attempts, and the 24th try will be more daunting, with Bayern eager to claim the top spot from slightly dipped in form league leaders Dortmund, who host Bayer Leverkusen on Sunday. Juventus will be looking to bounce back from their Champions League disappointment when they travel to Bologna in Serie A on Sunday afternoon. Napoli's lack of goals against domestic opponents over the last few weeks will leave them vulnerable to an upset at Parma, even though their hosts are also struggling at present. Inter are away to Fiorentina. And in England, Manchester United and Liverpool face off at Old Trafford on Sunday in what could be one of the key matches in the Premier League title race this season. And later in the day, Chelsea and Manchester City clash at Wembley in the EFL Cup final.
Live on radio, live online, this is The Locker Room with George Addo Jr.
All right, and so now time to get into the Chelsea discussion. I'm sure some Chelsea fans, well, get yourself ready. We'll activate the phone lines for you to come in and get into it. So we know very well the early weeks of the season when Sarri ball and that philosophy won Mauricio Sarri, adulation of his peers such as Pep Guardiola, and it definitely brought optimism to Chelsea. You know, seemed now an age away as the Manchester United breezed into the FA Cup quarter-final, needing a race definitely to gallop. Sarri cut a solitary, dejected figure as his predictable moves and inevitable results saw Stamford Bridge turn its fury on him with a force that begs the question, if not, his short time as Chelsea manager is drawing to a close. But when?
Today I prefer to speak Italian, first of all, because I want to send a message to my players, and I want my message to be very clear. I don't want to make mistake with my English.
A lovely ball forward, Stanislas Rudiger comes across, into King, it's 3! Chelsea have been torn apart in the second half performance!
Sono fortemente incazzato, perché...
Yeah, well, I have to say that I'm extremely angry, very angry indeed.
I needed to understand why, because I needed to solve this problem.
Aguero, who takes it on and shoots from distance. Oh my goodness, what a goal from Sergio Aguero!
Maybe it's my fault, maybe that I am not able to motivate them.
Zinchenko, whose ball across is turned in by Sterling. It's 6-0 now. Yeah, this scoreline, Manchester City 6, Chelsea 0.
We played very badly, and so we need to say sorry.
Giroud turns it in and hard celebrate, just deftly. 2-0 to Chelsea, as cool as you like.
Sunday was unacceptable. We had our reaction today, but we need consistency.
While sing along, remember that the WhatsApp line is 0244340437, and we'll activate our phone lines really shortly when we get to that point. But I've got two gentlemen joining me in studio, Oreku and Poffo. How you doing, Oreku?
I'm good, George.
Yes, great. Good afternoon to you. And Eddie Akins joining me in studio. Eddie, how you doing?
Yeah, great. Feels good to be back on Locker Room.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you had a wonderful crack at it on Touchline last week, but it was good to hear from you in studio. Ellen Frank is listening, and maybe at the point we'll try and pick that up as well. And Fifi Forcing as well will be giving us shortly the fixtures that we got in the round of 16 in the Europa League. But of course, we'll get on with this discussion, Chelsea discussion. Once again, 0244340437. The Surrey need more time, and we'll get into it. So let's get into it. Let me start with you, Eddie Akins. With all we have seen with Mauricio Sarri, would we say then that Chelsea players are beginning to lose belief in the Sarri ball philosophy?
Exactly, and that obviously I can tell. We can tell that from their displays. Now, when a coach comes out to tell you bluntly that he just cannot motivate his players, it sends a message out there to you, which is very important. Now, players are supposed to have confidence in their manager when he helps them win matches, when he helps them go through dry patches, when he helps them in sticky situations, i.e. When he makes a substitution in a game that turns the game on its head, when he makes the right selection, when he gets his tactics on point, when he's got a plan B as well in his locker, and Mauricio Sarri as of now is not ticking any of these boxes, and definitely the players are the main actors on the pitch, and they'll be looking at these things and saying maybe our coach has lost his marbles and his way a bit, and that definitely is not going to inspire confidence amongst them.
So definitely you believe they have lost it. But the Rick Wampofo, before the start of the season, we saw the Chelsea players executing, if not exactly what Sarri ball was supposed to be, something that was good to the eye, and we're getting the results. What could have gone wrong?
Well, I think at the beginning, what we were seeing was an after effect of losing the manager that you're not happy with. I think we're seeing a similar scenario at Manchester United, where after Mourinho left, the guys were all of a sudden motivated. I think that's what happened with the dismissal of Antonio Conte, and most of these Chelsea players were filled with that new energy of working with a new boss, and of course there was some sense of excitement considering the type of football that Napoli do play. But you look at this Chelsea team and Mauricio Sarri, and I followed him for a while now, and I just thought it was a brilliant move by the Chelsea board and Abramovich to get him in there, because for a while now I think Chelsea have really lacked an identity as a football club. And you look at the teams that they are competing against in England, and everyone seems to have a long-term plan as to what they want to achieve as a club. For Chelsea, sacking over 14 managers in about 7-8 years is a bit of an indictment.
Albeit it has produced results.
Yeah, it has produced results, and for how long is the question that you want to ask, using this business model, and is it really sustainable, and in the long term run, which coach would really love to come to Chelsea? And as I was saying, I thought this was a brilliant move, bringing a manager with a particular philosophy. But of course there would always be question marks when you have someone who has managed managed for over 18 years and still hasn't won a trophy. So of course there were question marks as to his mentality as a coach. But I am giving him a little bit of a pardon, and because I'm being realistic, and that's what a lot of Chelsea fans are failing to do. This is a manager that came in and had no pre-season. So imagine you have a machine that has been programmed to work in a certain way for 2-3 years, and all of a sudden you bring someone to change the way this machine works. I think that's what's happening in Chelsea. They've been, programmed in a certain counter-attacking defensive way under managers such as Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho, and all of a sudden you do have a new coach who wants to change this whole new style. So definitely one thing that he needed was time, and he didn't have the benefit of preseason to work with the team, work with the players. Everything came in so fast, and as I said, when they started so well was as a result of the absence of Conte. So they played really well, and all of a sudden things start to go wrong. But it's a difficult time for Chelsea, and realistically, nobody expected Chelsea to be in a title race.
Or even be in the Carabao Cup final. Yeah,
I think realistically, everyone said Chelsea were going to be in a top 4 battle. That I don't know about Chelsea fans, but I think for most pundits it was going to be between Liverpool and City for the league title. And I think Chelsea are around where they should be, fighting for that Champions League slot. And I think it's just an overreaction for a manager who hasn't had the best resources and time.
Okay, you know what? I'm expecting a lot of your messages, and I can see them coming through 0244-340-437, and then we activate the phone lines to hear from you. Now, Eddie Aki, it's a big question to answer as well for Chelsea fans, and we're doing this really top table. Like, is this squad even up there? It's the first one. He's got Jorginho, and he's got Higuain in, all right, but. Yeah, look at the defense. Look at what you've got. It's a squad that you can play around, really.
Look. You've got a squad with most of the players in their peak periods, and you've got a squad with winners, a squad littered with players who have won major trophies in England, and a squad that has been closely knit together. You have no excuse for not getting the best out of them. Now, this is not an inexperienced squad. This is a squad that has been there and done a lot of things together.
Aging squad, maybe squad that has problems.
Change. Yes, I think it was embraced initially, but the change has to be a lot more intelligent and less radical. But we are seeing that the change has been more radical and less intelligent, and that's why the team is struggling now. I tell you what, you asked me initially if the players have lost confidence in Sarri ball, and I think another set of people who have lost confidence in Sarri ball is the fans. The fans have completely lost confidence in Sarri ball.
Because the Chelsea fans want to be winning every day. At a point, there needs to be some proper work.
Exactly, but they are critical. They are critical, and they pay to go watch the team play. And so, if during a game you hear them tell Sarri he does not know what he's about, it tells you the problems run deeper than the players. And I can imagine the atmosphere during the Carabao Cup final. Look, it's going to be toxic and very nervous for the players to walk out there and play in front of their fans. And he's got a whole lot on his plate to solve so early on in his first season. He's got to lift up players who are down. He's got to reconnect with the fans. He's got issues to solve with the board, and he's run himself into this problem by not being gradual with his change. And he's got himself to blame.
I don't know what's not being gradual with the change. I mean, I don't know what's not being gradual with the change. I mean, it's a new system. It's going to take time. The fact that it didn't blossom in the beginning shouldn't make you feel that it had to blossom the whole season.
A perfect example is Pep Guardiola, and I think sometimes you have to be resilient with what you want to, work out in a new environment. The moment you do loosen up and try to compromise, you find yourself, losing little bits of your philosophy, and all of a sudden you become a blended version of what you tried to achieve. And
he's talking about being pragmatic. But he's saying being pragmatic. So you came to a team and 3 of the defenders have lost their legs. You don't don't go using them. You use the right players and you take it easy. He says it's been radical.
Yeah, but you need to understand the type of person that Mauricio Sarri is, and he is quote unquote a perfectionist, and he would love to see his football get to a certain level before he develops.
It's not.
Yeah, that's what he keeps on saying.
It's his football. He's there to make the fans happy and help the club to achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah,
so it's about his football. He can do that with his kids at home, really.
But George, when he started out at Napoli, it wasn't. You see, the problem is most people saw Sarri as the end product. They saw the Sarri ball when it was in full swing in his last 2 seasons in Italy. But you should go out there and check his first few seasons in Napoli. It was literally the same thing going on here. It felt like, 1,000 passes, no goal. But once you keep on doing this repeatedly, the guys get used to it. And time is the only factor remaining right now. I think if Chelsea do stick to their guns in the next 2-3 seasons, I do see them next up to Manchester City challenging them once he does get the right transfers. Yeah. And I do believe in Sarri a lot, and I think he's a good manager. I love a lot of coaches, who deploy the possession-based system, and I think he's up there in terms of it. It's extremely difficult to deploy such a system in England, and I do get a case that you have to be pragmatic sometimes, as we saw Pep Guardiola do in his beginning. That I do think maybe he may get it wrong slightly. There are some games that you have to, say that
tweaking it.
Enough of this.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, Eddie Aikins on that. Now, do you think giving Mauricio Sarri time, he would learn and begin to do the right things?
I think he's got to show us that he's willing to learn. Have we seen that?
In the game against Malmo yesterday, he had Jorginho and Co on the bench. You know what? But in the post-match conference, he said, "Can you see why Jorginho must start?" And I'm like,
so he's completely lost his marbles. Look, there's no difference in Jorginho starting, and it doesn't make any difference also when he starts on the bench. And so it tells you that it goes beyond Jorginho and it goes beyond one player. It's about the entire team and the system he's fitting them into, as well as the tactic he's demanding of them. And look, Oreku makes a point about Guardiola being resilient, being stubborn,
and going a lot more pragmatic
with his philosophy, especially when he went trophyless in his first season. But difference between Pep Guardiola and Mauricio Sarri is that Pep Guardiola had something to point to. He had substance to point to, and that was his achievement over the years. Now, what does Mauricio Sarri have to point to? He doesn't have anything to point at or to show to Chelsea that, look, these might be very dry patches, these might be challenging moments, but look at what I have done in other clubs, look at what I have achieved over the course of my career. That should give you the confidence that, given time, I can achieve the same. So Guardiola had a reference point. He had something to tend to. Mauricio Sarri has nothing to tend to, and that's what makes the case very, very scary for Chelsea, because no one knows where all this would end up. Would it end up in a very long dry patch? Would it end up with trophies? And that assurance can only come if.
So you won't grant Sarri time if you are the helm. You say it's over.
Look, he's having a lot of things to deal with so soon in his career, and I don't think it's going to go well. He's had to deal with the board. He's had to deal with the players. He's had to deal with the fans. So and
time to go.
Look, the only way down. The only way for Sarri is down, I think.
But I think Chelsea fans are getting so stuck up in criticisms that they are not actually sitting down to look at the improvements in the team. Yesterday, I watched a game against Malmo, and would you believe that it's against Malmo. But I saw a Kante with the driving one and actually give a vertical pass. That's something I didn't see under Ranieri or under Didier Deschamps. He's learning. Kante actually gave a reverse pass to Higuain. There are developments in the squad. Hazard's numbers this season, you cannot compare it to his last 2-3 seasons. There's improvement in this team, and it's going to take time. But you have to be positive. You have to believe as fans.
Let me do this.
And as stakeholders of the Chelsea club.
Lexus is here to really listen into what's happening because there's some good discussion. Let me bring in Efson quickly. Efson, then can you go through what we've got in the Europa draw, round of 16 draw? Because Chelsea are in there. Yes.
Yeah. Let me start with Chelsea.
Yes,
they've been handed a favorable draw. They are playing Dynamo Kiev. Ukraine.
Okay, Dynamo Kiev.
So that's a good one for Sarri to work around it and qualify to the next stage.
Next year, the competition at least.
Talking about the food draw, Eintracht Frankfurt, they've been placed against Inter Milan. Dynamo Zagreb will play Benfica. There's Napoli against Salzburg. That's an interesting one. You have to look forward to. Valencia are up against Krasnodar. Krasnodar shocked everyone and they spot a lot of bets yesterday. Eliminated Bayer Leverkusen. And there is Sevilla against Slava Prague. Arsenal against Rennes.
Okay, Arsenal and Rennes.
Rennes, you have to look forward to
what they do, look out for them. What?
Ben Alpha, 31-year-old Ben Alpha, trying to relaunch his career. I don't know if relaunch is the correct word, but
maybe relaunch. It's Gobi.
And there's Zenit against Villarreal.
Okay, just in 20 seconds, stay with me there because we have a bit of a breaking story, is it? Even though it's been a lot been in the pipeline in terms of Maxwell Kunedu being relieved of his duties as assistant 2 coach.
Not
Black
official yet, but this is what we are hearing. And according to reports, the normalization committee have taken this decision and they are trying to communicate to Maxwell Kunedu, and he's been relieved of. He's been sacked as the second assistant coach of the Black Stars, and his position will be taken over by Didi Dramani. Remember, Didi Dramani was the Black Queens coach, but he left to take up assistant coach role at Nordsjælland in Denmark. So I think he's back in the country and he's trying to work his way back into.
It could be an opportunity for him.
Okay,
so thank you very much. Key points out there and what we picked up and then the draw. Thank you very much, Efson. But guys, quickly before we go then, Eddie Akins, if Mauricio Sarri loses or is not able to win the Carabao Cup on Sunday, would you sack him?
I look. I really.
Let's put a quick one out there. The normalization committee has given a has released a statement saying they have not sacked Maxwell Kunedu. Okay, we'll find out what it means, whether it's a demotion or they moved him from one place or another. We'll clarify that for you. But let's come into Eddie Akins. Would you sack him if he doesn't win the Carabao Cup final?
He's a dead man walking. I will.
That helps.
No, I think against Manchester City, what I'll be looking out for is a reaction, and I don't care about the result.
I mean, and that's what you probably get wrong. No Chelsea fan wants to go into a cup final and say we're going for a reaction. So you react to what?
Realistically, you expected to lose against Manchester City.
Just
come on. You're not supposed to win against Manchester City.
Look.
How?
Look.
And no Chelsea fan will accept this. But
but your levels below them. You should understand that. You're not going into that final as favourites. What I want to see is character from Chelsea. Even if they do lose on penalties, I think Sarri should be
Eddie Akins will say that's actually the problem. That we have reduced to this.
Exactly. Do you recognise the fact that the fans would need to play a part in lifting the boys on the day? Exactly, yes. And
my time is up. Eddie Akins, thank you very much for joining me on the show. It's such a pleasure having you. Thank you very much, Efson.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Rick Wambo, for joining me. Of course, we'll be keeping this up, definitely. But that's it for the Locker Room on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is George Addy Jr. We're back with some more. Do join us at the Ghana International School. What we cover with the Kids Olympics, swimming, tennis to look forward to, and basketball.